We believe that to categorically condemn AI would be to ignore classicist and ableist issues surrounding the use of the technology, and that questions around the use of AI tie to questions around privilege. Here I am editing this vlog, completely horizontal. I did not film an intro for this, so I just wanted to pop in real quick to explain what's going on here. This is like a studio vlog turned drama discussion. I'm going to be talking about Nanowrimo mostly and how those events unfolded. I'll try to give you as many details as possible, okay? But I like making these videos with just little snippets of what I'm up to. So that's what we're jumping in with. I am a writer and artist, so you can follow me here or elsewhere, links down below, to keep track of those kinds of things. I'd love to have you along. You ever have those DIYs that you put off for literal weeks? This is one of those. Accompanied by both kitties. Here's where we are. I'm putting sound panels up, and they're gonna be a headboard. And it was like 2/3 complete at one point, and they started falling. So we're using this Gorilla Tape competitor that has a bear on it. Let's go. And now it's up. Ignore like how I have every color on my bed right now, but I think this is pretty good. The wall kind of needs some work still. I don't know, I feel like it looks kind of short. Maybe like something over there on that wall that kind of like mimics the height, or like not something up here I don't think, but maybe above each side. Or lamps on the tables, or a pendant coming down. I don't know. Let me turn this around. This is the first thing you see when I turn the camera around. Okay, let me turn myself around. Yeah. And I even put the shelf back on. The reason we had delayed so much was because there is like a little bit of overlap and you couldn't put the last tile on. But like, I just put this over the edge. It's fine. I'm finally reading this, by the way. It's so good. See like a little wide angle. Like, looks pretty good, I think. The reason we went with this, okay, the reason I went with this is like entirely my brainchild, was because I didn't want to get a headboard that the cats could sit on top of, because then it was just going to be like a dive bombing situation. Once they would learn that trick, they would never stop. So this is flat against the wall. It ended up being like about the same price as buying like a piece of wood or like whatever. And we can take these down. The only funny thing is I have a bunch more. I have like 7 more or something. And I don't think we really need to put them anywhere. We could maybe find somewhere in the front entryway. Or like up there. I don't know if they would fit though. Like, yeah, they're too big. I don't know. We'll figure out something. Or I'll just give them away on Facebook. Guys, guess what? It's time for companies behaving badly again. This time it hits close to home, okay? I'm going to talk about Nanowrimo. Okay, in 2017, I was an intern at Nanowrimo, which was a really big deal for me, actually. I really believed in the mission. I wanted to get experience at a big nonprofit. I believe in literacy, like writing education, that type of work. And I'm not from California. Guys, I'm from Northern Illinois. And I don't know if this is different now. I mean, a lot of things. If you're not caught up. I checked the recording and you can hear it, but it's not that bad. So it's just going to be you, me, and the garbage truck downstairs a little bit because I want to keep my windows open. And that's just life. It's Labor Day. Why are they picking up trash right now? Anyway, if you haven't caught up on the NaNoWriMo situation, I will be giving a little bit of a summary here, but I'll also be like referring to some other people because it's like there are chapters to this, okay? But I'm going to start from my personal story when I was an intern at their office in 2017 for the July Camp NaNoWriMo event. They do not offer paid internships, or at least they did not at the time. They had like a travel stipend for me so that I could take the train from where I was living to their office, but that was kind of it. It did not account for the fact that I also traveled there from a different city, like for the whole summer. But I really wanted to do it, so I saved up from like my school year job so that I could have this experience. It meant a lot to me. All that to say, like, I really believed in the whole like mission of what they were doing to empower people to write a lot. And I had participated in the events like kind of throughout my teenage years. So it was really, really exciting. And I thought it would be good for my resume or whatever. And I kind of just wanted to live in the Bay Area. I haven't worked for them since. I've just, you know, I'm connected with some of them on LinkedIn or whatever. Most of what I've found out about recently, because I haven't like been participating in the November events for a while. I've been pretty sickly and like opting out of doing 50,000 words in November. So I haven't been getting like their newsletter emails or anything. But this one creator, her name is Rebecca Thorne. I'll link to her TikTok. I'll try to link to like some key videos too, but she is the author of You Can't Spell Treason Without T, and kind of a superpower indie author. I think she's hybrid published now. I'm not sure. I really like her TikToks though. And NaNoWrimo kind of blew up, I guess, like before the November event or shortly into the November event last year. And I want to get this correct, but I don't want to like go into the whole situation because it's kind of upsetting for me, and other people have said a lot better stuff already. But basically there was a situation of like blatant negligence when it came to the actions of a certain staff member and that person's behavior on the Young Writers Program forums, which are for people under the age of 18, okay? Minors. I, like many participants, many volunteers, and many staff members, was left pretty disgusted after that. And I mean, of course I want to see the organization make a comeback, but I was like, you need a complete overhaul, right? There were clearly some leadership problems that needed to be rooted out. What I'm saying is I wasn't like never going to interact with them ever again. I was hoping that they wouldn't like fumble the situation even further as they tried to solve it, but that's kind of really what they've done. I don't know, every few months it's just like I hear another messed up thing, kind of. The one I want to talk about today is a little bit more lighthearted than a scary situation with underage participants, okay? But I'm still pretty fired up about it. NaNoWrimo.org releases an article titled, "What is NaNoWrimo's position on artificial intelligence? (parentheses AI). This article has been updated with a disclaimer already, but let me read some of this for you, okay? NaNoWriMo does not explicitly support any specific approach to writing, nor does it explicitly condemn any approach, including the use of AI. NaNoWriMo's mission is to provide the structure, community, and encouragement to help people use their voices, achieve creative goals, and build new worlds on and off the page. We fulfill our mission by supporting the humans doing the writing. Okay. We believe that to categorically condemn AI would be to ignore classicist and ableist issues surrounding the use of the technology, and that questions around the use of AI tie to questions around privilege. So they come out in support of AI in this post, basically, because they had a partnership. They have a AI writing tool sponsor. Now, there's nuance here. I'm thinking about AI constantly, and I'm thinking about the ethics of like my own approach to using AI tools and what I do and don't want to support in the artistic community in general. And I'm not out here to like get rid of all AI tools, because I mean, to be pedantic, but people are being a little bit pedantic. Like the spell checker in Microsoft Word uses AI now. And it kind of always has. It's guessing at the word that you intended to put there. Maybe to say that that is AI is like on such a smaller scale that it doesn't really count. But people are being pedantic in their arguments about that. And they're saying, you know, not all stuff is bad because Grammarly is AI, right? Like, I don't really have a problem with Grammarly inherently. I would have a problem with Grammarly if they started like using users' data in ways that compromise privacy or things like that. As far as I know, they're not doing that. But like that's something I think we need to be really vigilant with every single AI program out there, especially as creators, as people who are producing like IP or whatever. Like our intellectual property is how we make a living, and the potential for that leaking through AI is like very real. Okay, so wow, I'm already like so far in the weeds. To go back and arguing essentially for tools that are like helping you write full stories and not just, you know, editing, and arguing that like, oh, it's time to integrate this new technology into the process. New technology is one of the, emerging technology, excuse me. It's kind of one of the buzzwords that gets used in these arguments a lot, and it's in this post here. It's used in a very condescending way, as if like you reject AI tools, you're against all new technology, aka like calling you a Luddite. Yeah, this is a very defensive post. I'm skipping over the classism and ableism things right now, and I'm just going to read a different part. Beyond that, we see value in sharing resources and information about AI and any emerging technology, issue, or discussion that is relevant to the writing community as a whole. It's healthy for writers to be curious about what's new and forthcoming. So they're saying it's unhealthy, this resistance to AI, and what might impact their career space or their pursuit of the craft. Our events with a connection to AI have been extremely well attended, further proof that this programming is serving Rhymos who want to know more. So, very, very defensive position, and kind of unnecessary. I feel like if they're having these well-attended events, what I would have expected is for them to just keep hosting them. And for people who don't have that interest to just not attend. That's kind of my philosophy more so with how I see people use these tools. It's like, I guess, if you want to write a novel by having an AI generate 50% of it for you, okay. Or if you want to use it to explore your ideas, like, okay, it's not for me. And I have some like concerns I would probably raise, and I have some feelings about like how I want us to set expectations for the companies that make these algorithms and these AIs. But like, okay, you can do it, I guess. I don't really have this belief that those books will triumph and be as honest and true to our society, you know? I don't like when companies release, like, you have to be okay with us doing AI because it's our personal opinion, though. That is so different to me than, like, a person being like, oh, well, I use this program every once in a while, and I would prefer for you not to, like, question my morality. It's very different when it's a company, right? Because there's a huge exchange of money. There's a lot, you know, they're a bigger mover and shaker than like one person, right? Now I'm talking about classism and ableism. Now that I'm a little warmed up, this is really the meat of it. As a poor, I'm doing really well right now, okay? My life is stable. I come from a low-income background, though, okay? I got my college fully funded by grants, by financial aid grants, not a scholarship, financial aid due to income needs, okay? Also, I'm disabled. Am I the most extreme example from either of these groups? Perhaps not, but I have a lot of vested interest in this, okay? So they are claiming that a lot of the anti-AI rhetoric is classicist and ableist. Bullet point 1, classicism. Not all writers have the financial ability to hire humans to help out certain phases of their writing. For some writers, the decision to use AI is a practical, not an ideological one. This is not written very well. So these are very meandering little sentences with weird punctuation. Anyway, the financial ability to engage a human for feedback and review assumes a level of privilege that not all community members possess. Okay. One of the exciting things about Nanowrimo has always been that it's free, and that it's a great resource, and that they have a ton of free education resources, and they do free stuff for kids, and they do free stuff in schools, and also fundamentally writing is like a free activity. So as a poor, that was something I was very drawn to. You can write on almost anything, and I mean, it costs as much as paper costs. It costs as much as a pen costs. But these days, most of us have a phone to function with broader society in general, and you can write on a phone. So it's not adding a cost to your life if you are super poor and you can't spend any money on your hobbies, right? You could do this as a hobby. The editing thing, NaNoWriMo has never really been about editing, which is interesting. NaNoWriMo has been about the writing part itself, and the editing part, they have resources about it for sure. They actually have a lot of really good resources about editing. I would argue that you could like learn how to edit your own work pretty well from the resources that they have already provided for free throughout their site. I would also argue that you could find someone within their community very easily who you could exchange work with, and you could edit each other's work and, you know, improve as writers because of that. That is very much the core of this community. That is the heart and soul, is meeting other people and becoming better through connection with one another. AI feels like the opposite of that. It feels like it's doing the opposite of facilitating those connections. Also, it's not free. So many of these programs have a monthly subscription. I'm confused why AI is supposed to be the solution to, like, being poor. And I'm very wary of subscription models, of things that are just like not owned, that can't be owned by you. You can't get these on a disc. You can't, it can never really be yours. You're also giving your intellectual property to it inherently by using it. So just the money, very funny in this claim. I don't think this is a very solid argument, It's also another very defensive argument. It's saying you are doing one of the isms if you disagree with us. Now, even more so to that point is their point about ableism. It says not all brains have same abilities. I think they're missing a word there. What happened when they wrote this? Not all brains have same abilities, and not all writers function at the same level of education or proficiency in the language which they are writing. Some brains and ability levels require outside help or accommodations to achieve certain goals. I agree. These are true statements. The notion that all writers should be able to perform certain functions independently, or something happened here. They must have deleted something. The notion that all writers should be able to perform certain functions independently or is a position that we disagree with wholeheartedly. There is a wealth of reasons why individuals can't see the issues in their writing without help. Okay? Here's the thing. And this is, where the nuance is. Of course, I'm not entirely anti-AI because I think AI is part of things like voice-to-text technology. It's part of things like automatic meeting summaries or whatever. I think those are access tools, right? I think having an automatic transcript of a meeting that you're in and then having an AI summarize it into 3 bullet points or whatever, that is very similar to an accommodation that people already get in college, for example. College accessibility note takers are real, and they're real people, and they are hired by universities in classes where students need that accommodation. And they send out the notes that those people take. Usually they include whatever is covered and then a little summary of it. Very similar. I'm really excited about the possibility of those programs because it's like a universal design thing. That's a term that's used in disability access, but it means that accommodations that are useful for a disabled person actually have a benefit to everyone. I think pretty much everyone has been in a class where they couldn't focus or they really didn't understand something. And having an AI transcript of the class and a summary of it could be very useful in that situation, whether you have some sort of condition or not, whether you can't take your own notes or not, whether you have ADHD or not. I'm excited about those things. I'm excited about voice to text. Some people writing by hand is a barrier. Having a really accurate way of doing voice to text can also be a lot faster in certain situations for everybody. My partner is a doctor, and they have a program where they write notes with voice to text, and it's really helpful because writing notes is one of the most important things that doctors can do for quality of care, but it's also incredibly time consuming and incredibly burdensome on their day-to-day workload. People know about this kind of stuff, and people are very reasonable about this kind of stuff. This is not what we are arguing against. We are arguing against large algorithms with generative models that learn off of somebody's intellectual property and spit out something new. I don't think that Nanowrimo has ever stood for only people who can write really fast. Only people who have such good and neurotypical and able-bodied functioning skills, only them. Because the 50,000 word goal is meant to be a little absurd. And the community has always been finding ways to reach that within their own personal situations. That's really been the beauty of it, I think. And there are so many disabled people in the NaNoWriMo community that I just find this to be a real slap in the face. It also suggests in the same paragraph that this is this has to do with language and maybe speaking or writing in a foreign language, which is not really relevant to the conversation of ableism. That is a different thing. Inadvertently, what they've done here is they've really positioned disabled people as incapable in general, and they have thus far never been capable unless they had these tools, which is something that tends to happen. It's like, oh, we have like the silver bullet for solving this issue finally now, and it like kind of ignores how people have actually been living and functioning and writing, in this case, with their disability. Yeah, I'll say it. I think this is a really inadvertently ableist stance on the issue, and I'm mad about it. I think it's really muddying up our conversation. There's like a lot of straw man happening. Like, these are not the actual arguments people are having about AI. I think people are really worried that AI is going to exacerbate inequalities for like really important reasons, and just saying, oh, but it's helping people, so don't be mad at us, is like a really weird position, in my opinion. They bring up underrepresented people. I don't know. It's kind of incoherent to me. There's a link that I haven't read yet that I want to check out in this sentence that says, please see this related post that speaks to our overall position on non-discrimination with respect to approaches to creativity, writers' resources, and personal choice. The word non-discrimination is really strong there, because a difference in opinion on AI, like disagreeing with somebody about AI, is not discriminating against them, just to be clear, because your position on AI is not an identity. This article says NaNoWrimo is not in the business of telling writers how to or how not to write, taking a position on what approaches to writing are legitimate versus illegitimate, or placing value judgments on personal decisions that are a matter of free choice. Opinions about correct ways to write or right versus wrong kinds of writers should not be brought into our spaces. Our priority is creating a welcoming environment for all writers. There is no place for that kind of virtue signaling. I did not expect that. Hold on, I need to take a bite of my wrap after that. Virtue signaling is just like such a conservative dog whistle, in my opinion. There were other things I was spotting in this paragraph. I don't know if you heard me pause on the matter of free choice, personal decisions. These are just very like individualistic, like kind of words that come up in arguments with people who are like, it's a free country, so I'm mad at you for disagreeing with me. And I maybe even feel discriminated against for disagreeing with me. This next paragraph, I think, is what is important and like relevant to why this is coming up now, because I think they had a sponsorship or one of those events with the AI companies that had some pushback where people were like, this is really where NaNoWrimo wants to be putting money and support and backing. Like, I'm not into that. This paragraph says, this position extends to our partnerships with sponsors and affiliates, with authors who we invite to write pep talks or serve as camp counselors, and to people who we invite to participate in events. NaNoWrimo is a global community of more than 550,000 writers who we fully expect to have different values, different needs, different preferences, and different curiosities. Because Wrimos are not a monolith. We don't cater to a specific author archetype or ideology. It's just kind of like boilerplate. Like, I'm not surprised that they say this on the website, because like they don't want to be held accountable for everything everybody goes on to do after they participate in NaNoWrimo, especially if they're like an invited guest or whatever. Yeah, this is really weird. When was this written? 3 days ago. I don't know. Just kind of a weird vibe. Doing what you need to do to create a welcoming community and doing what you need to do to allow a certain amount of expression is really important work, and people kind of underestimate how much work it is, and they think that you can kind of just say, oh, we like we are very welcoming, and we're not going to let you remove someone for their opinion. Where that always is an issue for me is that, like, people who are asking them to do better are not asking for censorship. They're just saying, hey, I think that, you know, you could steer this ship a lot better. You can go in a cooler direction. What I would call this is a statement about creating a welcoming community with some questionable lines in it that I don't really see. Like, I don't really agree with the framing, I guess, of everything, especially like the virtue signaling sentence. That one is definitely about AI. They were like subtweeting the AI critics there. But on this other page, they call it a position on non-discrimination, and I just don't think that's like an accurate framing. I don't think that's an accurate use of the word non-discrimination. They have a whole disclaimer now that they know that there are, it says, we want to make clear that though we find the categorical condemnation of AI to be problematic for the reasons stated below, we are troubled by situational abuse of AI. It says that AI includes non-generative and generative uses, and it doesn't really say if they think there are different values behind those. Big L, in my opinion, ended up talking a lot. I thought I was ready to keep talking, but I don't know. I've sat here and had to think and read some other articles on it that are kind of just summarizing the situation, because this just happened. But do I think it's reasonable to call upon nonprofit organizations like this to not partner with AI? I do. Just because I see it as like really not meshing with their whole brand and objectives. I do expect to see more of it coming. I would not like this whole, like, we must embrace AI stance to be taken up. I really don't agree with that. I have cautious optimism about certain tools and certain learning methods that incorporate AI, and I do think there's a certain amount of inevitability that it will show up in our educational spaces, like sooner rather than later, that it is happening, and that professors are teaching people how to write essays with AI, and some people are really ahead of the curve. But I just feel like the point of NaNoWriMo was that, like, you can do it yourself. You can really do it. You, a normal person, can really learn how to write. Yeah, I would expect to see way, way less of this kind of thing from NaNoWriMo, and I'm sure it really reflects the opinions of basically like one person, because they have almost no staff members right now from what I can tell. So there aren't that many people steering the ship. Yeah. So this is kind of like an outsized emphasis of, I would say, probably one person's stance, kind of blown up to like a whole organization's position, which is interesting because when I talked about Sticker Mule the other day, I'll try to link that video in the corner, but like, I think it's that one. Yeah, that was also very much like a situation where the CEO was jumping in onto the communications channels and like having strong opinions about Trump. I don't think this is very productive. I don't think this is a very useful way of talking about AI. I don't think it's a really useful way of deciding where we're going to go with it. I don't think it's very useful for the NaNoWriMo community. I don't think it's very useful for writers and creators in general. I don't think it's useful for the NaNoWriMo comeback tour that they must be trying to plan for November this year. What do you think? I want to know if you've tried out any AI writing tools. I have. I think it's important to know what's out there and how they work. I'm not a fan of them. I didn't find them useful to my process. What do you think about NaNoWriMo? Did you know about this? Did it surprise you? I yapped like a lot. I was going to put this in a vlog video. Yeah, I'm still going to put it in a vlog video, but it's going to be like 90% of the vlog. Okay. I'm going to make some liquid IV. I'm dehydrated. Look at where my cats are. Hey guys. You watching birds? It's kind of rare that they get along enough to sit this close to each other. But bird watching is one of the times when they hang out. Oh my god, you're so cute. They're just very like wild and free spirited, and they express their love to each other through physical violence a lot. Hey, buddy. Hey. He wants to play with the feather toy that's trapped in there. Aww. I gotta work. Sorry. That's what happens when I yap for an hour. I'm so annoyed because I could only find a handful of pins, so I used clothespins. It's fine. Look how much bigger it got. This is wild. I'm pretty sure my boys are gonna want to sit on this, but they already tested it out and they're like, why is it wet? Looking pretty cool. Oh my god. I'm so excited to try it on again. Yeah. I know, why does that part look weird? It's the same on both sides, but it's weirder on that side. Let's do my makeup and close out this vlog. Okay. I'm wearing my Hosier shirt that I got at the concert. Guys, it was so good. We had so much fun. So it was like way across the state and there was such bad traffic. It took us like 4 hours to get there. It was wild. And then we were there way later than a lot of people, so it was super hard to get lawn seats. Everyone was so packed. There was like literally almost no standing room anywhere whatsoever. But we snuck in a little place for our blanket, and it was this like super steep hill. Honestly, worked it out. Everyone was super friendly. Could see and hear really well, but everyone was also like more intoxicated than any event I have ever been to. And I think it was just like this one area we were in. There were a couple of really rowdy groups, and the people behind us in particular kept like falling down the hill. The hill was like that, so they were taking tumbles. They were not able to support themselves. Like 2 whole vodka sodas were poured on us. Not like on top of us, thankfully, but like on our blankets and dresses and stuff. It was a lot, but Hosier is so good. Oh my god, I can't believe I got to experience that. He's so good live. Like a true treasure. It's so calming doing my makeup. It's so nice. I was supposed to wash my hair this morning, but I don't think that's happening now. Interesting. I've also, like, since I got bangs, I did my own bangs, but since I did them, I, like, haven't been doing my eyebrows at all. I have barely even been putting brow gel on them, but I'm gonna do it today. I had a really bad migraine yesterday. I don't know, I've been kind of overwhelmed, so I think it's been impacting me. And like, I'm seeing a ton of tension in my face. It's not noticeable to like other people though, so I try not to worry about it, but it's like a little weird. Should I do brown? It's kind of a dark color, but I blended out a little bit. But anyway, yesterday I started a new punch needle project. I'm gonna show that to you. They're like very cinnamony. I'm not gonna do my lashes because I don't want to. What's up, Star? You hungry? It's almost noon. That gives you any idea of like how I work. I worked a little bit this morning and now I'm doing this. And I'm gonna work a little bit more. Mess around a little bit more. Look how shiny. Okay, that's just what I was thinking. Cool. Okay, come see my punch needle project with me. I did exactly one area, but maybe you can still picture it. Let me turn the camera around. You see this? It's like a radar pattern. So right around this will be orange, and then yellow, greens and everything. This is another red spot. I based it off of real radar patterns that I've been screenshotting and kind of collecting over time. This is kind of my test round because what I really want to do is use kind of a radar pattern to make some accessories or like weird objects and things. Wouldn't that be fun? I think that would be really cool. Oh my god, other show and tell. Did I like include a clip of these in the vlog? This is a little bit more of a serious project, but I don't know exactly where it's going yet, but I'm making embroidery designs like for my own illustrations now. It's so cool. Star's asking to be included. This is my machine. There's a bunch of stuff on here right now, including Kitty. Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting. Just stuff all over the place. Yeah, I could tidy up a little bit. So, there are a few more things to be said about NaNoWriMo now that the dust has settled, which is one of the reasons I wanted to take a few days to make this video, because I expected some response from them about kind of the public outcry. Bro, can I help you? So, they have changed the webpage that I've been referring to in this video. They took out the points about classism and ableism. By the way, I realized I was saying classicist a lot. That's a different word. That's somebody who studies like ancient Greek and Rome. Sorry. Sometimes it just comes out wrong. So they took a lot of feedback about the opposing AI as classist and ableist points. And now this page says a lot of the same stuff, but it also says we made mistakes in our initial expression of this position. We speak to those mistakes in this letter to our community, which is linked out, and we've simplified the language on this page to reflect our core position. It would appear this letter is from like 3 days ago. So I think that's Friday, September 6th, when I was not online, happily. It's so fun to log off sometimes. Anyway, I will link this letter below. It's much more tempered. I mean, there's some interesting stuff. Taking a position of neutrality was not an abandonment of writers' legitimate concerns about AI. It was an acknowledgement that NaNoWriMo can't maintain a civil, inclusive community if we allow selective intolerance. So I think intolerance is still operating as a really strong claim there. But this also defines NaNoWriMo as like not belonging at the forefront of the conversation about AI, which is very interesting because they've kind of placed themselves there, but they're kind of rolling that back. And they also say they have a very small team right now. We know this. We know this. I'm happy that they took some feedback I'm not super happy with their position personally. Still, you can feel how you feel about it. I'm a little surprised that this was like released on the down low, but a little not surprised. Apparently this was like more of a newsletter release. They're really trying to find a way to like encourage civil and non-judgmental and tolerant dynamics within their space, but I don't really feel that it's hitting the mark. I know that's like a really difficult thing to do. I'm encouraged that they are like actually attempting to do it, because a lot of organizations these days just say, well, people can say whatever they want because it's a free country, and that attitude kind of fosters increased toxicity, actual discrimination on the basis of identity. So much to come to see how the dust settles on this. I know a lot of people are jumping ship because of this recent update, and like I've said before, I think there are other reasons to be doing that. They've added a couple of pages to their FAQ. One is called is Nanowrimo accessing, harvesting, or otherwise using my written work in any way? And this sort of like is trying to explain that they are not like harvesting your novels for AI. And I think this is the confusion for a lot of people who have like not participated in this event. I think a lot of news sites and maybe some people associated with Nanowrimo were like, oh, your writing is going to be used to train AI. And there's no real place for you to like write your novel on Nanowrimo. So what you put on there is mostly like the title, the genre, like a summary of it. Wow, they're basically just saying you can choose like kind of what metadata you share about your project, but you're not actually putting like the fiction, the nonfiction, the novel itself into their website, and you never have. Your writing on the website is being used to train OpenAI's algorithm, because they have like the whole internet. They have access to whatever is public, you know. That's just true of whatever we put online these days. So like, I'm pretty sure Google is using YouTube videos to train algorithms now. So, like, what can you do? We're still figuring that out. But it's not true that you type it, like, into the Nanowrimo website. They also added one about whether they disclose information with sponsors or any other party, and they don't. They don't do that. That is not something that's going on. I guess there were some privacy concerns about like their volunteer program and like volunteers being able to access information. They're working on a lot of stuff right now. To me, this seems like just such a big issue of staffing for the organization. They still have a lot to work out. But I personally don't have much hope for that happening, because they just can't stop writing FAQs. This one just came out today as of recording this, and it uses the word differently abled instead of disabled, which they have used so far, so that's a little confusing. Yeah, I kind of wish they would just focus on running a writing event, but sometimes we don't get nice things. I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope you had a good time too, as it was just ye simple vlog. That's what I do here. I vlog about my creative life. I talk about things that matter to me. I write and make art, and if you want to see more of it, you can always subscribe, like this video to see more, and you know, join me at those other places below. I'll have the links. Gonna be a lot of links in this description, but I think that's it for now. Stay crafty, make something that makes you happy today, and I will see you next time, okay? Bye!